Last week, week 2, we knocked on the door. This week, in week 3, we banged that mother lover down. Broncos Nation, we are getting better. Welcome in to the DFS Deli. I am the proprietor of this delicatessen, and I am joined tonight on the early descent into week 3, the only first look show, the only first look podcast on the interwebs. And I'm joined tonight by, well, you already know who the hell I'm joined by tonight. Chill. Welcome to week 3. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. Can't complain. It's a familiar thing here. We looked a little short-staffed today, but the deli we pull through. We always knock it out, and I guess we'll just get ready to dive on into the slate.
That's right. So, like we do when we're short staffed, we put the proverbial now hiring sign outside. And I said it on the last podcast, and I'll say it again. As much as I love our two cohorts, two of our best friends, one is no call, no showed his past 2 shifts, and the other one has another job, so we respect his obligations. If you're interested in coming on and ranting with us here at the DFS Deli, because I see the stats, okay? I see all the downloads. I see all the plays. I see them. I know there's somebody out there that listens to us, because it ain't like the first couple years I did it when it was literally the subscriber, the listener. It's hundreds of y'all now. So I know one of you want to go ahead and submit that application to the DFS Deli. So if you are ever interested in coming on and ranting with us about fantasy football, this little game we like to play every week, follow us on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram, the DFS Deli. Very, very easy to find. Slide into those DMs and let your boy know. If you want to join us on a Wednesday night, Saturday night, whatever, just let your boy know. So, having said that, before we go on to the show, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps tremendously with the algorithm on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you listen to your podcast. Download us, put us in your pocket, and take us to go. Chill, how was your week 2, by the way, before we get into week? How was your week 2?
Actually, my week 2 was good. I went even. I went even on DraftKings, so that's good. Anytime you go even, or even if you're a small loser, it's still a good week. And on Fanduel, I ended up going I think plus 350 on Fanduel. So I got there. My very lone early only lineup had a nice little Dolphins Ravens kind of stack in it. So it wasn't doing well until the very end of that slate, and then we got there and
fins up.
Yep, fins up. Let's go. And then my afternoon only slate somehow got there too. So it's a great way to stay in shape.
Hey, listen, like I said in the intro, we were on the doorstep this week. Now we're breaking that mother lover down, because if you don't know, we run a second show on Saturdays, and there are a couple little nuggets in there that you should probably take to heart when we talk about low-owned tournament plays. And I beat the drum about Tua and that premium double. I also said my bold call was Tyreek Hill was going to breaky the slate, and he did. So I don't want to say I don't admit when I'm wrong, because trust me, Sammy Watkins week 1, that was wrong. So lesson learned, I'm not going to make bold predictions on terrible players moving forward. So, but yeah, my week 2 is about the same. In one of the larger field contests, we finished in 23rd, and then a smaller field, we finished in 4th. So we were up there. We were knocking on the door. Like I said, I feel like I was welcomed in. Like they opened the door for me. I just didn't have a seat on the couch, that first place couch. This week, I feel like we can get there. So What do you think getting into week 3, the overarching theme is this week? Because as we talked off air, I feel there's a shift happening. And do we apply it to our lineup building? So the shift is that these low priced running backs and these high end receivers are the way to build lineups. And it's not necessarily the cheap quarterback because like last week, Lamar and Tua got there. So you're looking high end, mid priced. The week before, it was Patrick Mahomes. And you could have played the chalk with Jalen Hurts. You would have been fine. But it was these receivers that were the key to unlocking the slate. Yes, I get it, Saquon Barkley week 1. But last week, all those guys at the top completely flamed out. No JT. You know, no CMC was okay. But I mean, you pay a premium for CMC. You kind of want more. Right? There's no Bengals to be seen at all. But these receivers, I mean, it was you looked up everywhere. Everybody was getting 100 and a touch. Christian Kirk splashed 2 times. Amari Cooper welcomed him back to the 100-yard receiving club. Nelson Aguilar? Question mark. And even the lower end guys that we talked up that could have helped you get more of these guys in your lineup, the Greg Dortches of the world, they came through. So it was like you couldn't miss our wide receiver. Tyler Lockett had 100. I mean, like, what? But these running backs, and it could have been a 1 week thing. Don't get me wrong. It could have been a 1 week thing. But would you want to pay the premium in a vacuum for JT or at the same price, Cooper Kupp? The answer every week should be Cooper Kupp, right?
Agreed.
But in the same tier, and we're going to get into this debate when we talk about running back wide receivers, is that like Justin Jefferson is way more expensive than a guy like Dalvin Cook. And last year, we saw the inverse of this. We were jamming in Dalvin Cook, and no one's playing Justin Jefferson. Now, no one's playing Dalvin Cook, and everyone's going to be playing Justin Jefferson. So on this slate, you have a cavalcade of wide receivers that you could choose from. All the big guys are back on this slate. Your Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Steph Diggs, who comes at a discount because he didn't get his Monday night bump. He went absolutely berserk. You still got Jamar Chase on this. Like, so, Chill, I want to ask you, what is going to be the shift? And I'm sorry, are we seeing a shift in how we build lineups? And are you going to apply that shift this week?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting shift. I mean, I think what might have a chance to be one of the more popular builds. I mean, at this point, I think more people might be going like towards you said. They might play 2 of these higher price wide receiver and go more down into this mid range of running back. I mean, normally, like traditionally, you want to pay up for running back and then kind of get tricky at wide receiver.
Yeah, the old team jam them in days. Like those were the days. You take 2 or 3 of those high price running backs, and then whoever's at wide receiver didn't matter because you already know the running backs that you got are going to get 20 to 25 carries, probably over 100 yards, and could score multiple times.
Right.
This league is, I'm sorry, evolving into a more pass centric league, right?
100%. I mean, even some of these, like you said, as you look at some of these guys, even these guys that aren't like, priced through the roof, like, this week, and I say price through the roof, but you still have people like Diggs is still like 7,700, Tyreek is still 76, AJ Brown is 73. All give you the same upside as some of these top guys, maybe other than Cooper Kupp, because I think Cooper Kupp is still in a tier of his own.
Oh yeah, he's in a Cup tier. He is S tier. He's S tier.
But I mean, some of these other guys could do it. I mean, like we talked off the air, if Keenan Allen's out again, I think Mike Williams is too cheap at 6,700. So I don't want to say the days of, jamming in 2 high price running backs and then kind of going down at wide receiver is dead. But it's certainly interesting to look at. And I mean, I'll still put Travis Kelce up there as well. In terms of like pass catchers that are priced, and if you want to get a little different there, but I mean, for me, I still think I'm going to lean towards putting in two higher price running backs and trying to get a little tricky at wide receiver. I still think, you know, I still think that's where I'm going to go mostly. Because, like, I haven't won, like, the big one yet, but, like, I'm still profiting the first 2 weeks. So,
Yeah, like you said, we're knocking on the door, and they're gonna let us in this week, Joe. It is week 3. The power of the hair. This is what we do. Okay, so again, what we do on the DFS Deli is we go position by position, talk about some of our favorite plays, and again on the contrarian show, even though I'm going to mention some guys tonight because I'm contractually obligated to talk about Geno Smith if he's on the slate. So I'm going to do it again. But this week, we finally welcome home for the first time on the main slate Josh Allen. So there are all the heavy hitters on this slate: Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, to a lesser extent, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. All the guys are here. The gang's all here. So how do you sift through who to play and what to play him with? Because like I've reiterated on this show before, is that the quarterbacks are the Pepsi products, or they lead us to the Pepsi products. These quarterbacks are nothing but tacos. The real value comes in the drink because them tacos gonna make you thirsty. All that salt, they give them shits away, but they lead you to the receivers. Like I wasn't thrilled about playing Tua last week. I was thrilled about playing Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That's why you play Tua. In an inverse, though, you got your Crunchwrap Supreme and Lamar Jackson, which led you to playing Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman, just bringing it back on the other side with Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, whatever your flavor was. But there were so many avenues to explore last week, Chill. I mean, Jared Goff throws for 4 touchdowns. Joe Flacco goes for 304. I mean, there was so many ways you could have won. Like the scores last week were astronomical on the full slate. I don't know if we see that again this week, but it also serves to explore other options and get off the group think. Because the group think last week, like we mentioned, was Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. Boy, was that a fail. So if we can get off that train of thought and then go on to these other guys that have the ceiling and that aren't as owned as popular, we can find our way to the top of these tournaments. So tell me at the quarterback position, now that we've welcomed some of these heavy hitters back to our lives, on the high end, who are you targeting this week?
yeah, I mean, as we're looking at some of these high end quarterbacks, for me, it's going to be kind of ownership dependent. As we know, quarterback ownership does tend to be a little spread out than most positions. Um, I mean, one quarterback I really like this week that I think is going to have kind of lower ownership out of the group here is Patrick Mahomes. Um, Patrick Mahomes does seem to kind of get forgotten in the shuffle when all the big boys are back on the slate. I don't know why. It kind of reminds me of that week. You remember like when Kansas City played the Jets and nobody played like any Chiefs?
That was absurd.
Like for whatever reason, nobody played Chiefs. Like we're not, and I mean, I understand this game is at Indianapolis, so it does like so weather's not going to be an issue here, and Kansas City's coming off of a long week, so because we're playing on Thursday, and let's not sit here and act like Trevor Lawrence didn't just carve up this very poorish Indianapolis team, and Indianapolis teams do tend to get off to slow starts at least in September. Um, and especially like even on that Indianapolis side, like if Michael Pittman is out again, that offense is atrocious. And Kansas City is just going to have this. I think it could very well look like when they played the Cardinals, like
Oh, yeah,
where
absolutely.
they'll be up like by 35 points at half. Um, so in terms of this higher end, I'm kind of leaning more towards Mahomes, especially at the lower ownership. Um, I mean, at this point, as we talked about, Josh Allen has owned my Dolphins like the past 3 games, even in Miami. Like I think the last time they played there it was 35-0. So let's not act like the leading MVP candidate. I mean, Josh Allen's just just play him. I don't think anything really needs to be said there. Um, and then we got you know Herbert could be a little bit interesting depending on injury news. I mean, nobody in the league so far has been able to stop Jalen Hurts. We just watched Washington's defense give up, made Jared Goff look like a superstar. So I guess if I had to rank them, I'd probably go in terms of like higher owner, in terms higher dollar quarterbacks. I'm probably looking at Mahomes, Hurts, and then Allen. And Allen would only be third based on price.
Oh
So,
yeah, oh yeah, premium.
yeah, because I even think like that $300 between him and Mahomes will matter.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
I 100% agree. And to piggyback off your point, I feel like Patrick Mahomes is in that range where he could get ignored because I feel like people are going to go either, if they go in the high end, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. And that's where it starts. That's where it's going to start. But I feel like there's 2 other quarterbacks in that same similar mold that could be neglected this week. Okay. So I think it was last year or the year before where Josh Allen went against the Patriots and no one clicked his name. And Josh Allen like absolutely scorched the Patriots. Like literally, I got Josh Allen in the tournament at 1% owned just because he was playing. Like, stop. That should never happen. I feel like we have a similar situation this week with Lamar. So Lamar's on the road against New England. Everybody fears this team because they play at such a slow pace. I mean, my God, that game could get boring. But at the same time, let's not sit here and act like Lamar didn't just double bonus last week.
yeah,
Let's
and
not sit.
to kind of piggyback off of that, like Bill Belichick in the past has had difficult stopping Lamar.
Everyone has difficulty stopping Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, again, I said on this very show that Josh Allen is my leading MVP candidate. Right? I said he was going to win MVP, and I said Jalen Hurts is going to get MVP votes. From this slate, on an individual standpoint, you could get similar upside, if not higher upside, on lower owned guys. So look at Lamar, look at Patrick Mahomes, and to a lesser extent, look at Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and his Bengals need a bounce back game like none other. And they traveled to East Rutherford where they made Jacoby Brissett look serviceable. So if Amari Cooper can go for 100, almost double-digit catches and a touchdown, Jamar Chase, anyone? Just throwing it out there. So those are my higher end picks for sure. And we're going to factor in ownership now. But on the lower end, because everybody's going to want to jam in these high-priced receivers. On the lower end, I've heard a lot of grumblings about Justin Fields being a play this week.
Stop it.
Yo, you asked the 2 guys that aren't here. You saw the group chat.
I did.
Ask them.
I did.
I get it. They're probably taking Justin Fields in a vacuum against Geno Smith. But at the same time, I feel like they're going to play him. Houston ain't no joke, man. Houston is not a bad team. This is the old Houston team. So there might be some people going Justin Fields, but on the lower end, you're thinking the chalk is going straight to Jared Goff. Could you imagine Jared Goff chalk week? Oh my! And Kirk Cousins.
Pass on Jared Goff chalk. I'll play the Winged Dragon of Raw, but I don't know about Jared Goff.
Oh, our sun god is gonna get played. I don't care about the ownership on that. That's gonna happen. Well, we'll get there.
About to look like Merrick from Yu-Gi-Oh! About to say the chant to unlock him.
Side note, Yu-Gi-Oh! Trivia. Do you know the Winged Dragon of Raw's attack name?
His attack name? Ooh.
Yeah, so Blue Eyes is White Lightning. and I think Obelisk is like Fist of Destruction or something like that. Something Fist. Like I can't remember what it
Yeah,
was.
no, Obelisk is definitely the fist.
Do you remember the Winged Dragon Ross? I'll give you
Does he?
5 seconds.
I don't. But does he turn into a phoenix when he does it? I don't remember. Then I just know he turns into a darn phoenix.
Called Blaze Cannon. Blaze Cannon. Just side note, just for you nerds out there, just for you Euro nerds out there. But on this lower end of quarterback, do you feel inclined to go to a guy like Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins to fit in some of these guys? Or is there somebody on the lower end that you would look to from an ownership perspective that you would be more inclined to play?
Uh, yeah, I mean, and we'll kind of touch on this probably in the Saturday show, but the quarterback I want to play, if I'm going to play one of these lower dollar quarterbacks, is playing your boy.
Are you going to go Marcus Mariota versus Geno Smith right now?
I'll do it as a friendly wager because I like both.
Consider it done.
Yeah, man, I love Mariota this week. Kind of looking at stats here, Seattle's given up a 66% completion rate, 524 airs, yards through the air. I mean, this is going to be 10. I think this is going to be a little bit of an easier matchup. As we know, Marcus Mariota does have rushing upside. So essentially, if he kind of just falls into the end zone, you're solid. But yeah, I'm kind of looking at Mariota in this game as well. If I'm gonna go all the way down.
Well, listen, you already know at 5K on DK, Geno Smith is getting into the lineup. Okay. So listen, Pete Carroll came out and said that his offense is being way too conservative and it is, quote, time to take the reins off of Geno Smith. So the man has over an 80% completion percentage this year, right? You know that, right? You know he's leading the league in completion percentage, right?
I did not.
Yeah, that's Geno Smith by himself with a 2-to-1 interception rate to touchdown ratio. But they came out and said they're being too conservative. So I want to see against this porous defense in Atlanta if we can believe this coach speak and get, well, there is no such thing as vintage Geno Smith unless you go to his college years. But we've seen in a small sample from last year that Geno Smith does possess some upside. He supported Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in a 100-yard game and the same day before. This happened just last year. So if there's any matchup that can be serviceable for this, it's at home. It's the 4 o'clock game. It's one of the 4 o'clock games. If anything, if you take some shots early and your stack is later in the day, like you want to go to this Rams Arizona game or something like that, he presents a good swaption. At the bare minimum, a good swaption to get on to somebody that no one's going to play with, albeit lower upside. But again, what does that allow you to do? That allows you to play these Cooper Kupp-esque players. That allows you to get up to more than one of the higher price guys. So again, Geno Smith is a 99-cent taco at 3 a.m. and you're hammered. Okay? But what does he get you? What does he lead to? The satisfaction of that cold Baja Blast. Just putting out there. I'll elaborate more on Saturday, but you best believe this is not the last time you will hear Geno Smith's name come out of my mouth.
Random fun fact: Marcus Mariota is more expensive on Fanduel than Jared Goff.
It's that rushing, bro. It's the rushing.
It made me chuckle.
It's the rushing upside. And Baker said it before. Marcus Mariota does offer some upside with his legs. So I get it. I 100% understand. Ready to move on to running back, bruh?
Yeah, bruh.
So again, this is where we can flip the build. All right. So the common build, I can assure you this week will be try and jam in 2 of these higher price receivers and an elite quarterback. So let's say Josh Allen with, one of his pass catches, you take along Diggs, you run it back in the game with Waddle or Hill, and then you pay down at running back. Same goes on the other end with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts normally isn't a double stackable type of quarterback, but you're going to bring along A.J. Brown. right? Some people might be willing to go back to the Tua well after what they saw last week because you know how recency bias works. So this is the realm of lineup building where we can get into where this is a week I feel these top end guys are going to be super low owned. Now, I'm not talking like 1 or 2%. That'll never happen. But compared to what they normally are, we can flip the build and get unique in these tournaments this week, I feel. And it starts up top with a couple of guys that I like. Dalvin Cook is number one with a bullet going against this terrible Detroit rush defense. Okay, everybody's going to play Justin Jefferson. I get that. You're fine to do that. But what if he has a performance like he did on Monday night? 6 for 68 ain't enough at over $9,000 on Fanduel. But Dalvin Cook, because he hasn't been producing this year through 2 games, small sample, this is the matchup, right? I mean, there's three guys that are jumping off the board when it comes to matchup. Okay? Dalvin Cook, King Henry, Joe Mixon. If y'all think that Derrick Henry is going to get held down this entire year, you're absolutely out of your damn mind. And if there's any matchup to do it, this is it. Before Connor went down, the Cardinals carved them up on the ground, the Vegas Raiders. They carved them up. Like, you got Ito Benjamin averaging 5 yards a carry. Like, come on. So this is a spot. This is a spot where everybody's going to lean towards, David Montgomery, the David Montgomerys of the world, which I get the volume. But do you really want to play Chicago, Houston? That game could legit be over by 3:00. Legit.
I actually don't mind the Montgomery play only because they are a run first team, and he was pretty efficient against the Packers.
Look at the ownership, though. I know projections aren't out, but by the time Sunday rolls around, I can guarantee you he will be probably the third most popular running back. I'm not taking chalk David Montgomery ever. I can't do it.
So do you think he'll be third highest chalk, or do you think somebody like Miles Sanders at 5,500?
I think Miles Sanders gets up there, but you're gonna look at, if you want to stay on the cheaper end, Darrell Henderson, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. To a lesser extent, Antonio Gibson.
I mean, I hope the Miles Sanders ownership is going to be low because, again, I like him in this matchup against Washington. Truthfully,
Everyone wants to play the hurt business, but they're a run first team. So, I mean, playing the hurt business and Miles Sanders together probably doesn't sound like the worst idea.
No, and he's getting a little bit of receiving upside. So on DraftKings, that helps. He had 17 attempts this past Monday.
I mean, that's pretty good, especially for Miles Sanders.
Yeah, he had 17 rushing attempts, 80 yards, so pretty efficient. 3 receptions for 6 yards, but the 3 receptions is all you really care about.
That's 3 points, baby. That's 3 points. So tell me what you think about this upper end. And are you thinking about playing some of these guys this week?
Yeah, I mean, as we kind of look at this upper end, Jonathan Taylor kind of becomes the interesting one for me. I unfortunately played that dude last week. I really liked Jonathan Taylor last week. Kind of came back to bite me. I think for me, the Jonathan Taylor, it's going to depend on the health and status of Michael Pittman. Because if Michael Pittman's out, it could look a lot like it did last week, where he's probably going up against a loaded box, and they're going to be like, well, if Matt Ryan beats us, we go from there. We go, then we got New Orleans, Zach Carolina with CMC. I mean, it's CMC. He hasn't had quite a CMC-esque performance, but last week he got to 19 points without a touchdown. And I think they're letting him play a little bit more in this offense. I feel like in week 1 he wasn't on the field all that much. Could have been by design. I don't know if they were worried about his injuries. But he does seem to be getting more involved in the offense. And then, man, this just feels like the week where Derrick Henry has no ownership and he breaks the slate, right?
If there ever was a spot, it's got to be this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Derrick Henry's ownership is going to be in single digits.
Oh, single digits. Shit.
I think
5% or less.
I think it's single at least. I don't know if I have the stones to go five or less, but I mean, and you already touched on Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook this week to pivot. To pivot off of Justin Jefferson.
Like I said, in an ownership vacuum, basically, is Justin Jefferson going to be, let's say, I don't know, on a higher end, 25%, and Dalvin Cook's going to be 10%. The play is obvious. You play Dalvin Cook. Pretty simple.
Yeah, and
But
then
this just screams to me, screams a flip the build week. It really does. As much as badly as I want to jam in these high price receivers, bro, this could be a back to life, back to reality type of week. And we could see several of these top tier running backs just lose their shit.
yeah, and then actually, I think another thing that might become super interesting as the week goes on here. If James Conner gets ruled out, I assume one of the Arizona running backs would be Chalk, right?
You're talking about between Daryl Williams and Edo Benjamin?
Yeah, 5,100 for Daryl, and then
Against the Rams, though?
it's a salary relief. I mean, and that's what all people are looking for.
Ugh. Like you
I
can
think
find
I would think one of them becomes Chalk.
right, strictly a price standpoint, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be some people trying to get ahead of this Daryl Henderson Cam Akers split, or is
I
it just
mean,
a backfield you don't want to mess with?
it's a backfield I personally don't want to mess with. I mean, Cam Akers, I didn't even know he had 15 attempts last week.
Oh yeah, he outrushed Daryl Henderson.
I, I don't know if I'm that smart enough to play Akers over Henderson.
I don't have the balls. No balls. Not me. Not this guy.
Um, if I was like doing a production of lineups, would I put like Akers at like 2%? Sure.
Fair, fair. Any other running back you want to harp on, either higher end or lower end?
Yeah, I
Since
kind of
mention
yeah
everybody, so
yeah I kind of got a gross one. Damian Pierce.
against Chicago, that game. Oh,
I understand. I mean, we just watched Aaron Jones and them rush all over Chicago's defense. His attempts last week were at 15. He had a reception. Lovey Smith came out today and said Pierce needs to be more involved in the offense. So we have that narrative. We need to get him more touches. So
I'd be
you have
more
the heck.
inclined to play James Robinson, to be honest.
That's not a bad call either.
I don't think this ETN thing is real right now. They love them some James Robinson, bro.
That they
He
do.
had the majority of the rushing toke last week and looked good doing it. And the Chargers aren't that stout up front. So I don't know. Just thought. Just a thought.
Yeah, like I said, I think Pierce becomes the interesting one because at 5K, like if he gets you a buck on the ground and a touchdown at 5K,
Oh, you're dancing in the streets on that one.
yeah, and you know I do like the fact that his volume did go up from 11 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
This one might be really gross, but is Raheem Mostert starting to take over that backfield in Miami? I know
Stop! No! Oh God!
I'm the Miami guy here, but
My Chase
um,
Edmonds shares. Oh,
but like, is he starting to kind of take over that backfield until heaven forbid he gets injured?
I think the sample size is a little small, but he ain't running against Buffalo anyway, so who cares?
No, no, God, no, he ain't running against Buffalo.
So I don't care who's touching the ball in that backfield. I ain't touching that backfield, period. So we're good. Waddle or Hill, that's all I'm playing from that game. We're good.
Agreed. I'm trying to scroll through. I think we hit on a lot of the points here. I mean, you already touched on Montgomery. Um, yeah, I think we can go from there.
So yeah, getting into wide receivers like we mentioned before. Blaze Cannon himself, the Sun God. Okay, I think he is the only receiver minus Cooper Cup that I could literally say I don't care what the ownership is. I'm playing this guy.
100%.
He is still too cheap. Like they still need to put respect on this man's name. He needs, and I assume he will be because this situation looks oddly familiar, does it not, Chill? Who was the receiver last year that was too cheap the entire year and we refused to play him, but his price kept going up and up and up and up and up and up. And by the time it was too high, we realized how great this guy was.
Cooper Cup.
He really reminds me of Cooper Cup now, doesn't he? I'm not saying he's as polished as Cooper Cup because he is not. However, if the Lions continue to have these giant over-unders because they've been a top 3 team in offense for projected points these first 3 weeks, it's been the Lions. The Sun God is close to breaking I forget which NFL record it is, but I know he's close to doing it. So if you think he's not going to get force-fed the ball, he is. So if there's anybody in this, it's not even a range. I think he belongs in the Jamar Chase, Steph Diggs range when it comes to price tag.
So
and eventually he should surpass, if not equal, Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson.
I mean, I've touched on this before. The Detroit Lions offense kind of reminds me of the old school Vikings offense, where it was Cousins with Jefferson and Cook. I know it's still the same thing, and they're actually passing a little bit now more in Minnesota, but it kind of just reminds me of the poor man's Vikings, does it not?
If the Sun God continues to produce like he is, it might be the better version of the Vikings.
And here's your fun stat. So St. Brown became the first NFL player in NFL history to have 6 straight regular season games with at least 8 receptions and 1 touchdown. This streak began in Week 15 of the 2001 season.
So that's the one he can break.
It looks like he broke it.
Oh, I thought he was going to break it this week if he gets that same stat line.
Well, you go 16, 17, 18, 1, 2. Yeah, so yeah, maybe this week would be 3 then.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care. If he's got the NFL record, he's just going to continue it.
Correct.
I mean, there is no I don't see, minus injury, of course, a bust potential when it comes to this play. Who else is he throwing to? Josh Reynolds? Like,
he's probably just throwing the Swift, right?
That's it.
At this point,
that's it.
I mean, I guess my only concern would be too, like we just did watch Dallas Goedert absolutely eat the soul of the Vikings. So maybe this could be a Hockenson spot.
I don't think there's a such thing.
You think
TJ Hockenson is bad, bro?
Are we picking him up on the bus? You think?
No. You had to be good at one point. TJ Hockenson was all hype. He can't get on the bus yet.
I thought he was solid. I'm not gonna say he was great, but I thought he was solid.
Hey, listen, man. We need to talk to the guy that's sitting in the front seat and ask what Zeke thinks if we should go pick him up. Because you already know Zeke is on this damn bus. He's trash.
Yeah, Zeke has been Zeke has a pass. He has a bus pass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially when Pollard came out with like that 50-yard run or whatever it was. Yeah, I remember I was sitting there with my dad again for the listeners. My dad's a Cowboys fan and he doesn't really know a whole lot about fantasy football. And he was just sitting there like, if I was playing fantasy football, I would draft Pollard over Zeke. This man has no recollection of stats at all.
Because he watches the game. He watches them play. Zeke is terrible. Tony Pollard has been the best running back in Dallas for years now. So anyway, the Cowboys aren't on the slate. I digress. I'm sorry. We're driving this bus, trying to pick up several people. You know, Tom Brady needs to get his ass back on this damn thing. Okay. Gronk sitting in the back, partying it up. You know what I'm saying? We dropped him off.
Gronk retired, so he's not on the bus.
We dropped him off in his retirement home.
Yeah.
We wish him the best.
I mean, unfortunately, when we drop off Tom Brady, his wife ain't going to be there to, get him, but
Right. Either that or he's going to throw his ass back on the bus. You got to take him back to Tampa. But again, on this slate, I mean, if I were to rank these receivers, because there are some heavy hitters on this slate, right? So price considered, the Sun God is number one.
I agree.
Take the price off. Obviously, I would take Cooper Kupp first. I go Diggs. This could be a bounce back spot for Devontae Adams because we just saw what Stephon Diggs did to the Tennessee secondary. And I think everybody is truly butthurt over what happened with Devontae Adams last week. 2 receptions is unacceptable. After getting a 40+% market share of your team's targets week 1, 2 receptions is unacceptable.
Especially with them losing the game. Like, right, if they win the game, they could kind of laugh it off, right?
Yeah,
but they lost.
They lost because they didn't want to throw to freaking Devontae Adams. It makes no sense. So this could be a bounce back spot for Devontae Adams. And again, recency bias. We all saw what Steph Diggs did on Monday night. He could be very popular because we already know Josh Allen is going to be popular. Justin Jefferson is going to be the chalk of the slate, if not the Sun God. But in a vacuum, if I had to choose between one of the two, I'm taking the Sun God. I just have to.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And then, I mean, like, as we look at somebody like Tyreek Hill, it could be kind of an ownership move here between Hill and Waddle, unless if you think they're both going to be kind of close in ownership.
I think they'll be relatively close. However, listen, you know there's a narrative here, right? You think Buffalo still ain't butthurt over what Tyreek Hill did to them last year? Somebody gonna hurt that man. Not on purpose, but there's gonna be some extra oomph in them tackles this week. I'll just put it out there. So I don't think Tyreek Hill is gonna have the game that he did last week.
I mean, first of all, that's going to be hard to replicate. I mean, 10 receptions for $150 or whatever it is and a touch.
And the man left for half the damn game, it seemed like, with cramps.
He had cramps and still had 190 yards.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. Let me just put up these deuces on you real quick.
So, like cramps, instead of running a 4.2, he runs a 4.3?
I say a 4.28. But so those are hiring guys. So mid-tier, low end. Is there any salary savers we're looking at this week that we could, cram into the lineups? Because I think a guy like Chris Olave is going to be popular. He had over 340 air yards unconverted last week. I think if you're an air yards guy, he could make for an interesting option. Juju Smith-Schuster is cheap. You can always go back to the Dortch. Like, who on this lower end? And obviously some of these Tampa guys, because ain't none of their main guys playing. So if you were picking somebody from the lower end, who are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at the lower end here, a couple names that are jumping out to me. We'll stick with our 2 favorite low-owned quarterbacks. I'm looking at Tyler Lockett and Drake London. I've played Drake London every week so far. It hasn't hurt me.
Hey, yo, have you physically seen Drake London play minus his highlights?
I just look at the point totals and I'd be like, good job.
Yo, real talk. Drake London is entering GAM territory.
Oh, is he?
He's entering GAM territory. That dude is grown and he looks good. So Drake London, he might be another one of those guys where the price hasn't caught up to his actual production. So I'm with you on that one. I'm feeling some Drake London this week. I really am. He's grown. He's grown.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at Drake London, Tyler Lockett, somebody else that I'm kind of looking here at that didn't get the Monday night bump would be Devonta Smith.
There's a squeaky wheel narrative there too.
I mean, he did not get the Monday night bump. So at 5,200, this could be sitting there with some free salary relief. I mean, do we get really gross and play one of the Patriots wide receivers because Baltimore has the worst? Baltimore has the worst secondary in the league.
Yes, agreed. I don't know if I have the balls to play Nelson Aguilar, but I can play Jacoby Myers. Like Baltimore secondaries, but
You just got Jacoby does have an injury, so he's got to pay attention to that as well.
no, don't make me play Nelson Aguilar, bro.
And then, I mean, we mentioned it before. You have these Chiefs guys. You got, and Mecole Hardman has a little bit of injury, so we got to pay attention to that. I mean, MVS is at 4,700. Mecole Hardman's at 4,600. If he's out, I think somebody like Sky Moore becomes really interesting. Again, it's gross, but if you're going to jam in these higher price wide receivers, you got to save money somewhere. So,
Agreed.
I mean, Jahan Dotson seems to be getting it done regularly. He's still 4,600.
Isn't on DraftKings? Isn't Garrett Wilson in that range as well?
Garrett's 55.
That's still not bad.
54. My bad.
Still not bad. Still not bad.
No.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, we just saw, where's your boy from Dallas? Noah Brown?
Bro, dude, I've been screaming Noah Brown.
Didn't we just see Noah Brown just kind of smack up Cincinnati a little bit? Why can't Garrett Wilson do the same thing?
I mean, you're not wrong, but let's not forget the scout team narrative with Cooper Rush and Noah Brown, all right?
You're right. You're right. You're right. Can never neglect the scout team narrative.
We came up together, we'll die together.
Damn right. Damn right. Before we move on to tight end, flip a coin. I'm sorry, not flip a coin. You only can pick one.
Got it.
Upper echelon receiver.
Upper
you
echelon.
Cooper Kupp, you take a Justin Jefferson, Steph Diggs, or Devontae Adams. You can only take one. And yes, price is a factor.
Diggs, because Miami's secondary got absolutely annihilated. And I mean, let's be real. In terms of Josh Allen is better than Lamar, and none of these Baltimore wide receivers are on the same level of skill as Diggs.
I'm with you.
I'm probably going Diggs because at 7,700, it just seems still too cheap.
Yeah, and over here on Fanduel, he is $1,500 cheaper than Cooper Kupp. $1,500 gets you a lot.
It does, but let's not forget, Cooper Kupp just averages 30 points a week.
I mean, no big deal.
No big deal,
right? No big deal. Just here's 30 points.
Let
everybody else figure out what they're going to do to stop the 30 points that Cooper Kupp is going to get. Let everybody else figure that out.
And I mean, in Arizona's secondary is not good.
It's not, but neither is Tennessee's, man. Like, Devontae Adams could eat in this spot, bro.
We thought he could eat against Arizona at home.
Cooper Kupp's going against Arizona this week. Just saying. Shut him down.
And shutting down Cooper Kupp.
Damn right you ain't shutting down Cooper Kupp.
I mean, like you said, Devontae does become interesting because if you're going to go with the narrative that everybody burned.
He burned everybody. You know how this goes. You know this story, Chill. You've seen this movie.
I mean, it does become interesting, right? Do you just go back to Carr and Adams, run it back with King Henry, and you're different?
I'm not fucking playing. No, I'm not fucking playing Derek Carr.
You go Derek Carr, Adams, and you run it back with King Henry. How owned is that stack?
Fucking 2%.
Just saying.
Damn it, Chill. Do not make me burn more money on Derek Carr, okay? If it wasn't for Tua Tagovailoa last week, all my shit would have been lost, okay? So, all right, fair. That's a really good point. God damn it, Chill.
But again, this is why we build lineups Sunday/Saturday night.
When I submit the homework to you Saturday, let me know what you think of my Derek Carr stacks. Anyway, tight end, Travis Kelce's back. So
so I know this is gross, but this is the app. This has to be the last week for Kyle Pitts to ever be a thing, right? Jamal Adams is out. Seattle has no matchup for him, so it's got to be now or never, right?
Hey, listen. We can save this for Saturday, but I'm just gonna do it. Right? Here's the stat. Here's the stack. Here it is. Okay, you take Geno Smith. Take Geno Smith. And you double stack that shit with Tyler Lockett and TK Metcalf, and you run that bitch back with Kyle Pitts. You're done.
I mean, and Kyle Pitts on DraftKings is only 4,800.
He's only 5,600 on FanDuel because, okay, guys in his range, Tyler Higbee, everybody's going to play Tyler Higbee. They'd rather play Tyler Higbee. Okay. On the upper end, you only got Mark Andrews $100 behind Travis Kelce. And we just saw what Dallas Goedert did on Monday. He didn't get a bump. So he's 5,500. Kyle Pitts 5,600. I can guarantee you 100 people in the line, 80% of them are picking Dallas Goedert for their damn lineups. You even got Gerald Everett in the same tier as those guys. You can even go lower and go Big Irv. This is a spot. If not now, chill. You are right. Never. Pitts blow up week incoming. This is it, damn it. This is the week.
I mean, this would be if he doesn't do anything this week.
We're done.
I think this is where we would come on next week's show. We'll play the sad song and
oh yeah.
So for me this week, if it's not Kelce, it's Pitts, and if it's neither one of them, I'm probably just gonna play Evan Ingram.
I would rather play Logan Thomas.
I mean, Ingram so far had 8 targets last week.
I'd still rather play Logan Thomas. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, and again,
you think people are gonna get cute with Irv Smith though? Because people want to play Justin Jefferson.
I literally was just about to ask a question on Big Irv.
Oh yeah, people are gonna play Big Irv. People are gonna play Irv.
Well, yeah, because you could go Cousins, Brown, Jefferson, Irv, and there you go.
I mean, that's it. But that's going to be so common, though. That's what we don't want to do in tournaments. We don't want to go to the common build.
Correct. But yeah, I would think. I think Irv gets some ownership for sure.
Okay, chill. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, I want you to do this. I want you to do this for our daily doll hair contest. Will you do it? You just do it now. You lock it.
I can lock it in.
Okay. I'm gonna run Geno. I'm gonna run the premium double with Geno, Lockett, and DK. I'm running back with Kyle Pitts. You run Marcus Mariota, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and run it back with DK Metcalf.
I'm in there.
Yes. One of us is going to be right. And if we're both right on Kyle Pitts, then we both could be danced because we both could be right with DK Metcalf. We both could be right with Kyle Pitts. It's the ancillary part. It basically comes down between Geno and Lockett and Mariota and London. And I just expressed, I love me some Drake London. That dude is a beast. But
and the game ends 10-3.
Don't you wish that upon me. That game, I'm saying it, I'm being cliche. Here it is. Sneaky shootout incoming. What's the total on that game? What is it, 44?
I feel it. Hold on. I think it's 42, but let me double check.
Over.
It's 42.
Take the over. Damn it.
I agree.
Take the over. God. I'm hyped. It's Wednesday. I am too hyped. Let me calm that down. I apologize. Sincerely apologize. Anybody else at the tight end position before we jump into defense and get out?
Nah, I'm more or less going Kelce, Pitts, Ingram, or Irv.
Yeah, I think I'm Logan Thomas, Pitts. I can get behind Evan Ingram. I truly can. And then Kelce. Kelce is just Kelce. Because again, if I see ownership projections as we get closer that no one's playing Chiefs, I'm just going to load up on Chiefs.
Same.
I'm just going to do that. And I won't feel bad about my decision either. Oh no, Patrick Holmes with 350 and 4. Whoa, no.
Shame.
Seriously. Defensively, I don't really have too many standouts because obviously I like to pay down at defense like most of us do. But there's a couple situations where it can get ugly. It can get ugly. I mean, I still like the Saints against the paid actor for a
So I
pay up option.
so I kind of like the Panthers as the pay down option because New Orleans' offensive line. I mean, beside Burrow, Winston's been sacked the most, and
I mean,
he's been dealing with his back injury too.
sucks. That's why. He
So
sucks.
I mean, I don't mind it. If Justin Herbert is somehow ruled out, I might just play the Jags at 23.
That's solid right there.
I mean, last week coming up with 21 points.
Hey.
Let's go Jags. 5 sacks, 3 picks,
And a shutout.
and a shutout.
A shutout to boot.
I mean, it would be really gross. Like, I wouldn't mind the Bills defense, but like Tua doesn't turn over the ball.
I think he threw 2 picks last week, I do believe.
I
But I
mean,
mean, this is the same defense that absolutely embarrassed 2 teams so far. So I mean, you pay up, I'd still go to the Bills. I don't care. They're just a genuinely good defense. I don't care who they play. They made Matt Stafford
if
look like an idiot.
if Michael Pittman's ruled out, I'm playing the Chiefs as the pay up option.
Yes. God, yes. I mean, Kyler is ass too. So I mean, I play the Rams too.
And then I think this game's ugly. The Bucks Packers game, that one's.
I don't want any part of that game. Watch that game be like 48-51 somehow.
If that game's 48-51, then
I'll hold the L.
Yep, I'll hold the L with you.
I'll just say, you know what? Congratulations to the guys that had the balls to stack that game. Because I ain't that dude. I am not him.
I think both teams are going to try and run.
I mean, that's their MO. You know, their Green Bay's coach came out and said they want to get Dylan and and oh my God, Aaron Jones at least 15 to 20 carries. I mean, 20 touches a piece.
Right.
So you already know that's what they do, and we already saw 2 Bucks games as sample size. They have no receivers. They got Uncle Lenny, and that's it. And even Uncle Lenny came out and was like, "I'm sorry to my fantasy owners. I want to produce more for y'all." I respect that. I respect that guy. How could you not love Uncle Lenny? That's how we call him our uncle.
Oh, Uncle Lenny.
It's stuff like that. Stuff like that. I really like this guy. I like this guy. Well, chill. We did it. Short staff.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're getting used to this on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I know. Again, don't forget to drop an application in my DMs at the DFS Deli on Instagram and Twitter.
Interview process is pretty easy. You don't have to dress up in a nice shirt and tie. Business casual will do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't laminate your resume. We don't really want to deal with that. Just regular paper resume will do.
Please have previous gambling experience when it comes to DFS. No previous podcasting experience necessary, however. But
yeah, it's an entry level position because we don't pay anything.
I don't pay shit.
It's more of like an internship. That's full term.
Yeah. That's the way to put it.
Like you make your money with our takes. That's our pay structure.
That's how we pay you. Exactly. Before we get into our bowl calls, don't forget to like and subscribe before you head on out. We appreciate you listening up until this point. And I kind of gave away the 2 that I want to make for this week. So I'm just going to go ahead and reiterate. The Seattle-Atlanta game hits the over. That's one of my bowl calls. And the second one is that it's King Henry season, guys. I think we welcome back King Henry into the fantasy realm. And he breaks the slate. I think you're going to need King Henry to take down tournaments this week. I really do. And on top of that, not only do you need King Henry, I think that the build needs to be flipped. I think that the way to winning tournaments this week is high end running back over high end wide receiver. I think that's the way this week. That's the way. Chill, you got something bold for me, brother?
Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes just reminds us that he's still Patrick Mahomes. He'll be the high scoring quarterback on the slate.
What does that say about my Geno Smith lineups, bro?
It means he's a very close second.
Not just second, a very close second. If Geno Smith is a top 9 quarterback this week, best believe I'm dancing in these streets this weekend, okay? I'm not saying I'm not going to have some Patrick Mahomes builds because I will, okay? As ownership gets closer to Sundays and kind of gets more solidified, you best believe if I see sub 10% Patrick Mahomes, I'm playing Patrick Mahomes. I'm playing all the Patrick Mahomes I can damn handle. Before I sign off, you and I both agree, right? Kyle Pitts, top 3 tight end this week?
Top 2. He's fighting with Kelsey.
He's fighting Kelsey? Listen, Pitts, I got the music queued up for you, dog, because this is
this could be it.
This could be it, bro. We could be Kyle Pitts' funeral in our DFS lives. Because I'm not going through this shit again. I absolutely refuse. Anyway, go ahead and get the mop buckets out, chill. I'm going to shut down this grill, get the scraper out, get it all cleaned up for Saturday. And, yeah, man, flip that open sign to close. Then I think we'll go ahead and close up the shop.
Sounds good.
And as usual, we'll see you all at the top. Thanks for listening. Peace, Cal Pitts.